Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my day 3 preview for the Cheltenham Festival. But before we get into those tips, I quickly just want to reflect on how day 2 went for us. In the end it started out quite well. We got a few each ways. I was a little bit nervous in the Coral Cup, but both our horses filled the extra places with Gal Road and Campron, so that wasn't a bad result for us there. Free Stripe Live placed, Ahoy Senor placed. So we were knocking on the door, but then it came to the champion chase. We put up Shishkin, and in the end, he just never looked himself from the word go and was pulled up, and Energumene was able to take full advantage of that. So, yeah, fair play to Energumene. It wasn't Shishkin's day, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes next. So, yeah, that was frustrating there. Tiger we put up. I think everyone was a little bit miffed that Delta got up in the final stride to spoil the party. But Tiger Roll, you know what, he ran a valiant race and ultimately just wasn't good enough on the day. But it was great to see him get a good spin round. And then away from that, El Redoto, I thought he travelled into the race quite well, and I thought he was at least going to get an extra place. But he just folded like a deck chair up the hill, and in the end, I think he finished in about 8th place. And unfortunately, the bookmakers were only paying 6 places on that race, so that was annoying. And then American Mike ran a solid race. He finished second behind Facile Vega, and in the end, just ultimately wasn't good enough. In the other selection, Ocean and Mercy never got involved. The ground completely went against him. I think a lot of people were caught out by the ground today. Obviously, they did water before, but he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. They weren't expecting that much rain. It was meant to be a little bit more to the east of Cheltenham, but it just came there in the end. And I just think for a lot of people, their selections went out the window, and it was quite a tough day for punters. But of course, there would have been some people that had a great day. But on the whole, our selections were ultimately disappointing on what looked like we were going to break even. And if American Mike had won, we would have done. We would have actually just been slightly up, but unfortunately, he could only finish in second. So it was a loss making day today, but we're still up for the month. Yesterday wasn't so bad. We were slightly up, slightly down today. Still a bit of a level par week, but the next 2 days will ultimately shape how the week's gone for us. So hopefully we can have some winners, and let's get stuck into it then. So in the first race, I'm not going to bother. I think Bob Ollinger will win over Gallop and Deschamps, but I'm not confident enough to put him up as a bet, and there's no price, no value in his price. It's literally a match between the two, and hopefully we get a good spectacle there. But the first actual tip I'm going to put up will be running in the Pertemps. I'm going to put 2 up in this. It's the 210. I like the chances here of Alaphilippe for Paddy Brennan and Fergal O'Brien. Currently available at 6-1 with William Hill, who are offering 7 places on this race. It looks like he's been laid out for this race, Alaphilippe. He finished 5th in the Warwick qualifier, where ultimately they were just trying to get him qualified. It was a small runner field that day, only 7 runners in it. He travelled very well, and in the end he just got tired late on. He's been dropped down to a mark of 138, which I think is very workable for him. He finished 5th here in the Albert Bartlett last season, and I think that he can build on that good experience, because it's actually worked out quite well over the last couple of days at the festival. You have had Statler, Oscar Elite, both have run good races. Vanillier obviously let down the form, but I still think Alaphilippe is a well handicapped horse. I think he'll handle the conditions as well. I well expect it to dry out tomorrow. From now on, they're not expecting any rain. It might ride like it takes a little bit of getting, but I think Alaphilippe, he should be suited by conditions. He's pretty versatile ground wise, and I think he's going to be really hard to keep out of the frame, so he's going to be an extra tip there. And the other one I'll give a shout out to is Third Wind. He's currently 20-1, 8 places with SkyBet on this race with Tom O'Brien and Hughie Morrison. Lost his way in his last run when he finished 3rd in the Rendlesham, but I wonder if they were just trying to get his handicap marked down to a mark of 141, which is actually the same mark he finished 4th in this race off a couple of years ago behind Cider Burley. Obviously, he meets again, and it's exactly the same terms, but Cider Burley, he's getting on a little bit now. Obviously, I expect him to run a good race, but there's no value, in my opinion, in his price. Well, I think Third Wind, I think this has probably been the plan for him all season long. On his best form, he's definitely got a good chance of at least making those extra places. He's got the course form, he's been here, got the t-shirt, he's on a workable mark, he'll handle the conditions, no problem at all. It'll be suited as well by the big field scenario. I think he's really hard to knock out the frame, and I think he's a bit of value there still in his price, so he's going to be a selection there. Eldorado Allen is going to be my selection in the 250 in the Ryanair. I think Alaho probably should win, but I thought Eldorado Allen was worth an each way bet in case the favourite did blow out. Favourites don't always necessarily have a good record in this race, and it's hard to defend your crown. But Eldorado Allen ridden by Brendan Powell tomorrow for Colin Tizard. He's really improved this season. He's currently available at 16 to 1. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. He really relished a step up in trip last time out when he won the Denman Chase, beating Royal Pagay. He's always shaped like he's wanted further. He started off his season winning the Howden Gold Cup, but we actually put him up as my nap here on the YouTube channel that day when he beat Hitman. He really did use his stamina over the trip, and I think he could have a lot more to offer. He finished second in the Arkle here behind Shishkin last year, so he's got a bit of course form next to his name. He's pretty versatile on all kinds of ground. He actually won on his British debut on heavy ground at Sandown, so if you can win there, you can pretty much win anywhere, I think, with the testing conditions. So yeah, I think he's got a pretty good chance. He's still on an upward curve. He's only an 8-year-old, and I think he might be able to finish second to Alaphilippe tomorrow. And if he doesn't come in Alaphilippe, I think 16 to 1 could look a good each way return. So yeah, he's going to be my selection in the Ryanair. I'm going to put two for you up in the stairs. I think this is a really muddling race. I want to take on Flooring Porter and Classical Dream. I don't fancy either of them, and I think the two that I'm going to put up here are going to be Paisley Park for Aidan Coleman and Emma Lavelle. Yes, no. I know no 10-year-old has won this for a long time, but Paisley Park to me looked somewhere near his best last time out, despite blurring the start. I think this scenario could suit him. He'll like the good gluey ground, which I expect it will be tomorrow once it starts drying out, and it could take a little bit again. It'll just suit him down to the ground. He likes it here. Obviously, he won this race a couple of years ago. He's won the Cleve here before a couple of times in the past, so it should pose no problems for him. And I just think I think he'll be staying up that hill very strongly, better than quite a few of the others. And I think at 15 to 2, you can get 4 places with Paddy Power at that price. I think that's a good each way bet, and I really find it hard to see him finishing out the frame if he jumps off okay. So yeah, that obviously is the main question mark. The other one I had to put up was another old favourite here, Song for Someone for Nico de Boinville and Tom Simmons. First crack at 3 miles. He's 50 to 1 or 40 to 1, I should say, with Bet365, who are offering the extra places. I think Song for Someone, he shaped like he's wanted this extra distance. He won the international hurdle here a couple of years ago, and then this season his career has slightly gone off the boil a little bit. He ran okay when he finished second behind Guard Your Dreams in the international hurdle. He was raced really lazy that day, and he only got going towards the end of his race. He was tailed off last time in the contenders, but I just think he's been crying out for this trip. He's a good jumper of a hurdle. He'll like the ground. He's got plenty of form and testing conditions. I just thought if they do go hard tomorrow and he registers to step up and trip, I thought he could definitely outrun his odds at a massive price. And I fancy maybe a few at the top of the bet and not to run their race. So for me, Song for Someone, I'm willing to take a small chance on him there. We then go to my nap of the day, which runs in the play. It's the 4:10. I'm really sweet here on the chances of Imperial Alcazar for Paddy Brennan and Fergal O'Brien. He wouldn't mind the rain. He's currently available at 5 to 1 with SkyBet, who offer 8 places. I'm going to recommend a 1 point each way, or 7 places, I should say. I'm going to recommend a 1 point each way selection here. Now, this horse, Imperial Alcazar, was a very impressive winner when he won last time at Cheltenham. He showed a good turn of foot, and in the end, he just had too much for them. And he's probably more effective over this trip than 3 miles. He can stay over 3 miles, but I think 2.5, especially with the ground the way it is, I think will be bang on for him. I think he'll be ridden prominently, and if he can get into a good rhythm, I think he might have a little bit too much for these. That form as well has worked out really well. You had Oscar Elite in that race. You've had a couple of others, Java Point, go on to win. It looks a pretty decent race. It's a race that's thrown up plenty of Cheltenham Festival winners in the past, and I just think Imperial Alcazar's got solid claims. You can obviously make a case for a few in here, but for me, Imperial Alcazar, I really liked his run last time out, and I think he could still have a little bit more to offer despite his current mark of 152. So he's going to be my nap of the day. I like 2 then in the Mayor's Novices hurdle. The first one is Party Central for Davy Russell and Gordon Elliott, currently available at 13 to 2. There was a few firms paying 5 places at that price. Party Central won at the Dublin Racing Festival last time we saw her. She landed a bit of a gamble. She was a really cosy winner, and yeah, she was able to take advantage of her handicap mark. She is obviously going to have to improve coming into this company, but I think she can. She's 3 from 4. She stays a little bit further. She won't mind the ground. I thought she was one at a bit of a price there that could go well. And the other one I like is the British Trains Love Envoi, who's undefeated so far for Johnny Burke and Harry Fry tomorrow. Currently available at 12 to 1 with a couple of firms that were offering the extra places there. All the extra place firms will be in the description where they were with the current prices. But yeah, was a good winner last time out, winning a grade 2 at Sandown over slightly further. She's quite a keen free goer, but she likes testing ground. I think that again won't be an issue for her tomorrow. I think she'll go towards the front, and I just think she'll just keep finding, and I think she'll go very close and be in the frame. And yeah, I think she could definitely outrun her odds and give the Noel Feely Racing Syndicate a good run in the Mares Novice Hurdle. We then have 2 selections to round off the day. The next best here is my main option, Frontal Assault for Rob James, claiming 3. He's riding for Gordon Elliott here. Currently available at 6-1 with Bet365, who are offering 6 places in this race. Frontal Assault, it looks like he's been lined up for a valuable pot. He's yet to win over fences, but he was only just touched off last time out at Ferry House in a beginner's chase. He's got some good form if you go back through his hurdle form. He finished 8th here in the Martin Pipe last year, which wasn't a bad run at all. He won't mind the conditions as well. He's got form over further. He just screams so many things in his favour tomorrow. He wears cheek pieces as well, which is a good start. I think it's 8 of the last 11 winners have won wearing some form of headgear. 7 and 8-year-olds as well have got an excellent record in this race, so he fits the profile down to a T, and I'm just going to put him up there as my next best of the day. I also as well I couldn't leave out an old friend of mine, Larry. I did put Larry to run up at Sandown at the weekend, but he was a non-runner. But it's interesting that they come here. He's only £1 above his last winning mark when he won the Sodexo Gold Cup at Ascot last autumn. He's a horse that I think will be suited by the conditions. If they go a good gallop, it could just suit him very nicely. I expect him to be out the back, but if his jumping can stand up, I think he could be running on very strongly up that hill like he did at Ascot back in the autumn. And I think at 50-1 with 6 places with a couple of firms, Paddy Power offering that price with 6 places, I thought that really did stand out. Yes, he's not been to Cheltenham, but he's untested at it, and I think he might just be able to run on and maybe nick a place at a big price. So they're the thoughts and feelings then on day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival. Obviously, that winner still does elude us, but let us know in the comments box below what you're going to be backing tomorrow. If you're still enjoying these videos, remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to the YouTube channel at LuckyLoads15. If you want to follow me on the socials, Twitter and Insta are the places to do so, where my handle is at LuckyLoads15. So that's all I've got to say. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.